Good morning, wonderful, amazing, fantastic geometry class. This is Ms. Youngblood here, just giving you guys some extra review on some of the geometry work that I gave out over the closure period. And also I'm going to end with the daily meditation that I posted on Google Classroom. So just giving you guys some different things you can think about to kind of get your mind away from the crazy situation that's going on right now. But today's topic for March 19th, Thursday, is vertical angles and complementary and supplementary angles. So we're just solving equations using the information given about those kinds of angles. So in the assignment that was posted on Google Classroom, I chose 3 examples to do from that assignment. Each one is a different kind of angle. So the first one we have here is a picture of a vertical angle. So keep in mind, vertical angles are right across from each other. They kind of make 2 little V's or 1 big X. And vertical angles are always equal. So in problem 1 on the assignment, we are given that this angle is B and this angle is 36. Therefore, B has to equal 36. That is literally it for problem 1. B equals 36 because vertical angles are equal to each other. I jumped down to problem 3 because that's a little bit different. When we see problem 3, we have 2 angles on a straight line or straight angle. And we learned yesterday that a straight angle is equal to 180 degrees. Therefore, the sum of these 2 angles has to equal 180. I set up an equation using that information. 112 plus B has to equal 180. To isolate B and get it by itself, we have to subtract 112 from both sides. Positive 112 minus 112 gets us 0. 0 plus B gets us just B. Then we did 180 minus 112 on this side to keep the equation balanced. 180 minus 112 gets us 68 degrees. So angle B has to be equal to 68 degrees. Next problem I did was problem 4. In problem 4, we have a right angle. The reason we know this is a right angle is because this box here is 90 degrees, and they want you to assume that since this is a straight line, this has to be 90 degrees as well. So since this is a right angle, these angles are complementary. I don't know if I said the official word for this one, but this is supplementary or linear pair when they equal 180. So now we're doing complementary when they equal 90. So since these 2 angles are complementary, that means they add to 90. So I set up an equation with that information. B plus 52 equals 90. We want to isolate the B because we have a positive 52. We want to subtract 52 from both sides to get it to cancel from the left side. 52 minus 52 is 0. B plus 0 is B. And then we're doing 90 minus 52 to keep the equation balanced, and that gets us 38 degrees. So our final answer for number 4 is 38 degrees. I actually realized that I made the classwork assignment on Google Classroom a little bit easier than the Khan Academy because I didn't put any equations on there. But for those who are interested in looking at some extra Khan Academy examples, those actually require you to use equations to solve for a variable given information about vertical, complementary, and supplementary angles. So the first problem in the Khan Academy set, you were given 2 sets. The first set is just on vertical angles. It's only 4 problems. This is the first problem in the Khan Academy set. Sorry, wait for it to focus. So you're asked to solve for x, and you're given 2 vertical angles. Yeah, that's better. You're asked to solve for x. So one angle, the top one, the blue one, is 8x plus 36. The bottom angle, the green one, is 5x plus 60. So because these angles are vertical, we know that they are equal. So we're going to set up an equation, setting those 2 expressions equal to each other and solve for x. And I've already done that. So we see here, I've set up an equation using those 2 expressions. 8x plus 36 equals 5x plus 60. We have a constant and variables on both sides. So keeping in mind what we reviewed, if it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before, Tuesday. On Tuesday, solving equations with variables on both sides. You want to get all the variables on one side and constants on the other. For the sake of ease, we're going to get all the variables on the left side, so I have to move this 5x to the left side. We subtract 5x from both sides to get 5x minus 5x is 0. 0 plus 60 is 60, so we have 60 on the right side. On the left side, we have 8x minus 5x, which is just 3x. Again, this 36 just comes down because it's not combined with these terms. It is not a like term. We can't combine it. So now we want to move all the constants to the right side. The 36 is the constant because there's no variable. Because it's a positive 36, you want to subtract 36 from both sides to keep the equation balanced and cancel this 36 from this side. 36 minus 36 is 0. 3x plus 0 is 3x. 60 minus 36 gets us 24. Our last step to get x by itself is to divide by this 3, because whenever we have a number in front of a variable, that is multiplication, and the opposite of multiplication is division. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 1 times x is just x. 24 divided by 3 gets us 8. So our final answer for this first problem is x equals 8. The other problems that I was working on in this set pretty much have the same setup, but I did want to show you how to do this problem because there is a slight difference. So again, vertical angles are equal, so we're going to set up an equation where these two expressions, 9x plus 210 and 4x plus 140, are equal to each other. So again, this is the second problem we're reviewing in the set. And if I said expression in the previous clip, please note that should be an equation. So our equation is 9x plus 10 plus 210 is equal to 4x plus 140. Again, start by getting all variables on one side. Variables and constants are on both sides, so it's easiest to get all the variables on the left. We're going to subtract 4x from both sides of the equation to keep the equation balanced, and cancel the 4x on this side. So positive 4x minus 4x is 0. 0 plus 140 is just 140. 9x minus 4x is 5x. So we're left with 5x plus 210 equals 140. Now we want to get all the constants on the right side. Because you have a positive 210, you want to subtract 210 from both sides. So we're subtracting 210 from the left side. 210 minus 210 gets us 0. 0 plus 5x is just 5x. On the right side, we have 140 minus 210 gets us negative 70. Final step to get x by itself is to divide both sides by 5. When a number is in front of a variable, that's multiplication. To cancel multiplication, you want to do the opposite, which is division. So dividing both sides by 5 to keep the equation balanced. 5 divided by 5 gets us 1. 1 times x is just x. Negative 70 divided by 5 gets us negative 14. So our final answer for this problem is negative 114. The reason I wanted to go through it is because the value we get for x is negative, which means, which usually you would think that doesn't make sense, you can't have a negative angle. However, we're finding the value of x, not the angle. So if you were to plug in negative 14 for x in the original expressions, you would still get a positive angle. There are such things as negative angles, but we haven't touched on those quite yet. And we'll see if any of the other problems in this set are different. The rest of the problems in the first set were pretty similar. So now we're going to move on to the second set, which just focuses on complementary and supplementary angles. So we have this picture given to us here. So it asks us what is the measure of angle x. We could also name that angle based on what we learned yesterday, BOC. So that's this angle here, angle x. And it says that angles are not necessarily drawn on scale. But we are given this box here. And recall from yesterday and even a little bit earlier in today's video, this box means that we have a right angle, which means that these two angles are equal to 90 degrees because this whole thing is 90 degrees. So we're going to set up an equation and solve for angle x. As the problem said, the sum of these two angles had to equal 90 because of that box, which indicated that we had a right angle. And also keep in mind when two angles add to 90, that means that they are complementary. So these two angles are complementary. But again, to get x by itself, we want to subtract 62 from both sides to keep the equation balanced. We're subtracting 62 because we have a positive 62 here. So 62 minus 62 is 0. 0 plus x is just x. On this side, we get 90 minus 62, which is 28. So that the measure of angle x is equal to 28 degrees for that first problem in the set. The second problem in the set gives us supplementary angles. So complementary means it adds to 90. Supplementary means it adds to 180. So they're telling us they're supplementary because they drew a straight angle, a straight line. So they tell us this angle is 48 and this angle is x. So we know that x plus 48 has to equal 180. So the equation for that problem is going to be x plus 48 equals 180. Again, that's because they gave us a picture of two supplementary angles that add to 180 because they're drawn on a straight line. So x plus 48 equals 180. We want to isolate x. We're going to subtract 48 from both sides to keep the equation balanced and cancel this 48 here because it is being added. So 48 minus 48 is 0. 0 plus x is just x. 180 minus 48 gets us 132. So the measure of angle x in that diagram would have been 132. The rest of the angles in that set were, or the problems in that set were very similar to the two problems that I reviewed. And so I'm sure you guys can figure those out yourself. If you have any questions about the Khan Academy problem sets or the classwork that's posted on Google Classroom and was handed out the Friday before we left, feel free to send me an email, send me a message on Google Classroom, a text message. You guys have my number. If you need it, ask and I will give it to you. And just be sure you're reaching out to get the help with these enrichment assignments, as well as if you have any questions about your grade and old work you can do to improve your grade over this period. Please keep in mind that all enrichment assignments are going to be counted as extra credit, so if you're doing them, they can kind of make up for classwork that you might be missing, but you can also still submit those assignments as well through email or Google Classroom. I want to end this video by looking at the daily meditation that I posted on Google Classroom. So today's daily meditation, which I've been doing myself, but I want to share with you guys to kind of, go through in another way you can get your mind off of this stressful situation. Today's daily meditation was, why is it important to take the time to be still and reflect? My response was, allowing time for stillness and reflection gives us the opportunity to focus our energy on what we are truly called to do. Reflections grant peace of mind by forcing us to plan and adapt to whatever life throws at us, given our current situation. Now is an excellent time to practice reflecting on where we are in our lives and how we can use this time to continue to grow and mature as individuals. Again, that's actually a daily meditation from yesterday. So that's posted on yesterday's post on Google Classroom. I'll post today's post at some point today, and you guys can respond to that and tell me your interpretations of the reflection as well. Again, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to me through email or commenting on this video or Google Classroom. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I will see you soon.